Alright, everything is set up, everything is good. This video is gonna be a long video. I'll try not to pause it. I'll try not to repeat myself. Anything that I've said in the past fucking how many videos I've made about this, 2 or 3 videos, I just won't say. I'll try not to say at least, but it's very hard not to fucking say shit about this guy. But I want to react to what Charlie is saying, what Charlie is talking about, what he's saying. So I'm gonna get right into this. Shout out Penguin Zero, shout out Moist Critical. Link will be in the description to his channel. Make sure you guys check out his channel, bro. Yeah, I'm just gonna get right into it. It is currently 2:55 a.m. in the morning. So yeah, this is gonna be a bitch to edit because I'm gonna have to watch it over and over again. And for some reason, my autofocus is being weird. My autofocus is being hella weird for some reason. Hopefully it doesn't do that when what's it called? Alright, but let's get into this, bro. So this is titled I Talked to Sneako. So it looks like they had a conversation, if the title is what it is. It looks like they had a conversation together. Hopefully we could react to some shit, bro. But let's get it.
I know it's April 1st, but I'm not. The title is not a joke. I talked to Sneako, and I gotta be honest, I had butterflies in my tummy. I was more excited to talk to him than I would be to talk to Santa Claus. Now, I know this will be coming as a shock to a lot of you, a bit of a jump scare, so I hope you're sitting down so it doesn't knock you off your feet. Sneako and I have not been on the best of terms recently. And we've tried our best to keep it a secret and handle it behind closed doors, but unfortunately, it's bled into the public eye, and you know what? By golly, I'll say it with my whole chest for all to hear. We just haven't liked each other. We haven't seen eye to eye on many things, so our internet beef has become this fine Wagyu steak. It's been this very tasty, juicy bit of drama between the two of us, and today it finally boiled over and we had a conversation. And I want to show you some clips from it. He actually asked me to record, so don't think that this was some kind of one-party consent thing where I pulled the wool over his eyes and pulled his fucking pants down to surprise him with a recording. He had actually asked me to. And I want to show you how this went, because it was actually a very interesting conversation we had. I want to tell you how we got there. It's because last night I noticed Sneak...
Bro, I hate when my fucking space bar doesn't work. But I'll try not to pause it as much.
Sneako was raving about cuites on Twitter yet again, talking about how much he loves it and how he'll always defend it, but then said that I wouldn't debate him on it. And this little nugget of cringe had me scratching the hair on my chin, confused. I wouldn't debate you on it. I would actually love to hear your side of things on how you could possibly excuse the blatant sexualization of the child actresses in the film. Now, I'm not a debater. I actually am not a fan of debates in general. I prefer just general conversations as opposed to these like gotcha and leading questions and traps and shit. I think that's not very conducive to actual understanding of different sides of arguments. So I don't debate, but I was very willing to have this conversation with Sneako, and I reached out to talk to him, and he was more than willing to talk about it. So we did. We talked about cuites and even talked about all of our general grievances with each other. And this was a very different side of Sneako. I went into this expecting him to be his standard, unhinged, like very animated cartoon.
Gotta change my fucking... Just adding time to this shit, man. Adding unnecessary fucking time. I ain't putting you in the charger, bro. Alright, let's get back into it.
Cartoonish self that I see in all of his content on Twitter and Rumble, where he's doing these like temper tantrums and like throwing his ass in a circle and going wild, hog wild. But here, this was a very laid back, very calm and collected Sneako.
And you know
who was
why.
Actually more than willing to concede on some of his points as well as see different sides of situations.
See, that's what
I didn't expect.
That's what I was explaining in the other video that I just posted yesterday. He has to see other points of view, and he has to understand that if they say something that counters your point, bro, you can't just sit there and be like, oh, fuck that. There's no way that shit's fit. No, that's not facts. You have to sit there and say, okay, I get what you're saying.
Expect that. And I'm very appreciative of that pleasant surprise as well, because I went into this with pretty low expectations, but after finishing our talk, I'm actually pretty curious to see where Sneako goes next, because, like I mentioned, there are some things that he just fully admitted, like maybe he was guilty of doing.
I'll see you by the end of the video, because like I said, I could tell in the other video, in the last video, I could tell when somebody's being fake. So hopefully Charlie isn't fucking. I hope he's just giving him the benefit of the doubt, bro. But we'll see by the end of this interview.
Doing similar things that he criticized others
or conversation,
and that he was going to be repurposing his message and changing things around to make it more conducive to positivity. So overall, the whole conversation went in a totally different direction than I expected. Of course, he's still very passionate about some things, and we still fought on quite a few things. And the reality is there's just a lot of things that I don't see eye to eye to him on with some of the things he talks about. But overall, I really walked away with a very different impression of Sneako from this.
Okay.
Now, I know I'm blue-balling you here, but one more thing that I think is important to mention, he has said that he's wanted to debate me over the last 2 weeks here. He even made this big hullabaloo on Twitter about how I ducked a debate with him on Aiden Ross' stream. Even though he had not replied to any of my DMs at that point, there was no debate scheduled between him and I. So that was just a blatant lie. I think he was just joking around about it, and it missed the mark because people actually thought that I was avoiding him. But he's not wrong in the fact that I really didn't want to have a conversation with him over the last 2 weeks because all of it was extremely geared towards hurt feelings. At least that's how I interpreted a lot of his statements. It seemed to focus more on me saying, P.U., you stink, and him taking it as, he's canceling me. There's not a whole lot of productive conversation that can come from that with me just explaining over and over again that I'm just insulting you, and that's the simple brass tacks of it. But over the last 48 hours, it really does feel like he's had this come-to-Jesus moment where he's recognized that I was never canceling him. I was making fun of him. He even issued an apology about bringing up my girlfriend and stuff like that.
But does that change your whole, like,
he
shit?
has been off the mark on a lot of things recently as well. He also, like, apologized for being a cuck, which was a wild thing. He talked about how cuckoldry was a mistake. So it looks like he was never okay with it, even though for a time he did say everyone should try it. It looks like he's changed his perspective on that. Now
like we fucking said,
with
bro.
a lot of regret. Which isn't surprising since those insults were not some of his favorite to keep hearing. So that's not really a discussion we had. I think and have always said, whatever happens between consenting adults in the bedroom is fine. As long as no one's getting fucking hurt, there's no, like, victims, it's consenting.
But when you come out and speak about it, bro, on a platform like YouTube or any platform, bro, you leave it open for the public to criticize you on. So he knew what he was doing, putting it out there. He thought, oh, maybe I bet you he thought maybe me telling this will get me some clout, will get me, but it totally backfired. Everything that he's done with his career has backfired to this point. So he's gone to this fucking, like, he's gone to this fucking, oh, I'm this motherfucker, I'm getting rid of this soy boy image, I'm never gonna be, like, I'm all positivity, bro. I'll give it fucking 2 weeks to a month before he's out saying some wild shit, bro, or saying something to another creator. Like, I just don't trust it. I don't.
Adults, you're good to do whatever makes you happiest. The reason I always talked about the cuckoldry is, one, because fucking hilarious that a lot of his beliefs now go very much against his past of being open to watching his girl get fucked in front of him by multiple men on a couple occasions. And two, it was illustrating a bit of ridiculousness with him being the moral authority on healthy relationships when he himself was in a very confusing one that he wasn't proud of, yet still preaching that people should do it anyway. That was the whole point behind it. I wasn't trying to kink shame like a lot of people started accusing me of. If you want to be a cuckold, then be a proud one and be okay with it and comfortable in your own skin about it. So,
like porn star boyfriends.
Like he's been more receptive to real talk, and that's what we had. So let me go ahead and show you now. The first thing we talked about was cuites.
This discussion with you about cuites since I dropped that video back in 2020.
Fuck no. This man is outside. If I'm hearing a whole bunch of other noises and shit, I'm gonna be pissed.
How time flies, man. Well, better late than never.
So, have you seen the movie?
Yeah. So, you mentioned you saw my video, so you know I didn't finish the movie. I physically couldn't. I found it just to be completely repulsive.
Haven't you seen a lot of other movies that have repulsed you before? I watch horror movies. I watch movies that are provocative quite a bit.
Yeah, but this is something I feel isn't being recognized.
Oh, shit.
There's a difference between being repulsed by fiction, which is like horror movies, that's not real, and being repulsed because
By-
there's real children doing sexual things. You can't fake that. The actresses were 11 to 13
Bro,
years.
this is what I say. This is what I say. Anybody who knows Game of Thrones, okay, knows that these motherfuckers in the book are like 13 to 14, 12 to 14. Any character in the book is a young person. If you're not like, you know what, you get what I'm trying to say. Like Jon Snow is like supposed to be 14. Fucking his sisters are supposed to be young. His fucking brothers are supposed to be young. Everybody that's a main character that is supposed to be portrayed as a child in that fucking show was casted by people who were old enough. It don't fucking matter. You can't put a 14-year-old into scenes that are gonna have sex and naked and no, you can't do that. You can't do that. I'm sorry. Listen, it's fine when you cast actors that are old enough to play these roles, okay? With stories that are supposed to, this is what he's saying. It's repulsive. It got repulsive. Like, you know how quick Game of Thrones would have been if they casted 14-year-olds, 13-year-olds, 12-year-olds? You know how quick these motherfuckers would have. The first episode, I'm pretty sure, got sex scenes in Game of Thrones, if I'm not mistaken. He's not understanding, bro. He's not understanding.
Years old. They were twerking. There was some very gross scenes in there, and like the cameras would zoom in on their chest and their ass and their crotch. Like, that's a very different kind of repulsed.
That's what we agree on. I don't agree that those scenes are good. I don't agree with.
But oh my God, if you see, I would be cutting this. I'm sorry, but if you don't agree with that shit, right? Why the fuck do you like the movie so much? Then you have to understand that they shouldn't have used real child actresses. They shouldn't have done that at all. You could still make a movie about children using actresses that are of age, okay? And that is not a real fucking child, bro. Like, you're bugging. If you understand that, bro, then come on now.
With the sexualization of children, I defend the movie because I defend the morality of the movie. And I think that most people that were disgusted have seen those clips or didn't watch the whole movie like you. So that movie was taken out of context quite a bit. People don't really see the moral of the movie, which was defending Islamic values and also pointing out the very real problem that young girls have.
But I've said it in all my videos, bro. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about the morals of the fucking movie when they miss the mark themselves. Bro, what are you talking about, bro?
On social media and doing these dances. I agree that it's disgusting. I agree that those scenes are repulsive. I think you could be repulsed by TikTok and pretty much what young girls are doing on social media every single day as well. I think that people outraged at that film should also be outraged at everything that girls are doing now on Instagram, TikTok, and all these apps.
Well, see, but here's the thing. So let's break it down to the very bare essentials. Can children consent?
Can children consent? No, they can't. We agree.
So then why do you think it's excusable to exploit them after having them sign up for this film? If you admit they can't consent, how can they possibly give the okay to be shaking their ass and having a camera all up in their shit while they're doing sexual things, like that scene where she takes a picture of her vagina, the scene where they're doing literal, like, toying around with cam sites, like, that's very different. Like, no one the message, right? It's a
I agree with the intention of the movie. I don't think that those scenes are good. That's what we completely agree on. But I think that was an important movie to point out how many people get sucked into this world. I think that was needed.
Yeah, we agree. Yes, but did they have to do what the way they? Oh my God, I feel like a broken record, bro. Okay.
It was needed to be made, and I also don't think that movie encouraged pedophiles to go and cite and look at these girls. I think that they're more likely to go on TikTok and find girls that they're attracted to. I don't think that this really attracted people to these girls.
Well, it's not like I'm here arguing that this movie created pedophiles, right? But what it did is it delivered a film that they would watch for totally different reasons than the message. Again, the message isn't something that I or pretty much anyone has an issue with. The message is, like you mentioned, the social media poisoning them, making them do the sexual things, which is a problem. But this movie contributes to it since it still used real children to sexualize them to showcase it. That's the issue.
Exactly.
You didn't need it to be
I don't think
children.
it contributes to it because when you see girls doing this on TikTok, they don't know.
I don't see girls doing it on
Bro, that's yeah.
TikTok, though, is the thing, right? The only people that would are going to be the pedophiles.
Exactly.
They would go and search that out. This movie was advertised on Netflix.
No, that's not true. Every time I don't have TikTok on my phone, but once in a while before I was big,
Don't you
I
damn
would go on there.
don't you damn say it.
The first 3 videos would be the same thing that you see on Cuties.
Oh, what? Everybody knows how TikTok works. Everybody knows how TikTok works. Bro, I will go to my For You page right now, bro. Bro, it's all funny shit, bro.
And that's why I uninstalled the app. That's why I refuse to have it on my phone because it's directing you to those images.
Which is a problem. I'm not disagreeing that's a problem. But that doesn't make this film...
We agree, but we just disagree that I think the movie was important to point out a flaw. Personally, I never empathized with girls being directed to that site before I saw that movie. That really made me understand what it's like to be a girl and grow up in that age.
I think we're getting... Yes, we agree that it is disgusting, but you are excusing it because you believe it highlights a very real issue, which it does, but it contributes to that issue by using children.
He's not understanding that. He's not gonna understand it. And I feel like he can't backtrack from this shit. He can't backtrack from what the fuck he's saying.
They didn't have to use kids. You recognize that, right?
Exactly.
No, they didn't have to use kids. But I also look at the director and I look at the moral of the movie, and I don't think that it was anything unsafe, and I don't think that the director had any bad intentions making it. So maybe it shouldn't have been as sexualized, but I defend the morality of the movie, and I also defend the effect that it had on me. When I watched that made me have a new perspective.
But do you see why that's kind of... Jesus, sorry, that was my cat. Do you see why that's kind of concerning to hear, though? Because in the time that I watched that film, there were unreal amounts of sexual scenes. In fact, the majority of the movie was them doing like the dance routines where they're smacking each other's ass, zoomed in on them shaking their ass in the camera. There's that scene where a security guard's like, "What are you girls doing here?" And they're like, "We're dancers." He's like, "Prove it." So they start twerking for him, and he's like, "Oh, great, get in here." Like, that is a problem, no matter how you spin it. Again, the message is fine. There was never anything wrong with the message, and maybe the intention of the director was...
How would you tell the director to convey the message in a different way?
You would just not use children.
Exactly. It's so easy. You just don't use children.
You could deliver the same message and you don't use children. The problem is
I don't think it would be effective. I don't think it would be as...
What the fuck are you talking about? This man just said he doesn't think it would be... Bro, how? How? Bro, get the fuck out of here.
It's unfortunate that it's misinterpreted, but you couldn't be able to have that effect and show how provocative and how dangerous it is without using kids. Of course, the shots probably did not need to be that bad, but when I watched that, I was absolutely disgusted. And like I said, it changed my perspective. And what I'm surprised about is that you are against wokeness, because everything that your content is about, it doesn't seem like you've ever directed any energy towards how dangerous wokeness can be, which is exactly what that movie's about. It's saying how important Islamic values are in the face of wokeness. It's about a Western African family.
I'm tired of hearing the same shit.
A completely woke country that's now being burned alive and women are running around topless. Wokeness has consumed France, and it's pointing out a proper solution to this problem, which is embracing Islamic values.
Who was the director of the film? Do you know?
Her name is Maminu Dukure. Maminu Dukure, I think that's her name. She's a Western African woman, and she moved to France. So I imagine that she had a very similar experience, and she was trying to portray what it was like growing up.
So the message of the movie is about social media, and almost exclusively. She directed the film based on seeing some children in a neighborhood doing sexual dances and wondering, how did it get to that point? This isn't okay. So the movie was supposed to be about how does a child get to that point, and it's about how social media is poisoning them, and they're constantly comparing themselves. They're seeing these things, so they're putting on makeup and they're doing sexual shit, and they never really understand why or the consequences of it. It's not a critique on wokeness, though. Of course, anything in the art field you can derive your own meaning from. I recognize that almost everything you encounter in life you tie back to either cancellation or wokeness, but in this film in particular, this is a movie I really feel conflicts hard
Especially
with
that
your ideology.
cancellation.
Under no circumstances should children be sexualized, is where I stand. Do you disagree?
There's a lot of things in movies, like I don't agree with incest in Star Wars, but Star Wars has incest scenes. I don't agree
But that's
with
not
incest, but it's portrayed.
It's not real incest, though. This is real children being
Right,
sexualized. It's not,
right. It's not real, bro. He's getting, bro. Just like he said at the beginning, bro.
These are
We
11.
agree. I agree. But I'm defending the point of the movie.
You can defend the
And I
point of
do
the
not-
movie,
and I'm
well,
not-
but you can still condemn the movie itself. The point can stand on its own 2 feet, right?
Right.
Like, there is a problem, which you recognize, with kids being sexualized, in specific on TikTok. That is a problem in and of itself. But you can still condemn this film for contributing to the thing it's supposed to speak out against, which is sexualizing children, which you have admitted it does. And it didn't need to, like you said. That is the
so
problem.
maybe they shouldn't have used child actors, but I agree with the point of the movie. But how do you think that the point could have been conveyed in a better way? You think
Like
should they have used 18-year-olds to play 11-year-olds?
That's exactly what most movies have done for a long time. A quick example is The Last of Us using Bella Ramsey to portray a 14, 15-year-old. Like, you can do that, and that's a lot more acceptable because there is no longer a victim. Like you'd said, children can't consent. These kids could never fully consent to being sexualized in this film like this on the big screen.
I would
Sitting
argue
on the
that
head.
when they use 30-year-olds and 27-year-olds to play high schoolers, like in Euphoria and like in 13 Reasons Why, it actually sexualizes kids more because we start to mature high schoolers. People in their 30s and their late 20s get addicted to Euphoria, and they have ideas, and they start romanticizing teenagers in a different way because they don't use actors in that way, and they make them look more mature.
That's a completely separate conversation
That-
you can make
yeah.
arguments for, but that doesn't work here because it sexualizes already real children, right? So I think you're getting hung up on like the what ifs and like whataboutisms on other sides,
Right.
but the core doesn't change. So let me give you an example. It is realistic to use kids for the message, right? Because it's about kids. Well, what if the child was naked doing the vagina pic? If they showed the kid's vagina, is that now too far? Or it's still
That's
realistic.
too far. So there's 2 ways the movie could have been changed to be more effective and that people would understand the message. 1, they could have used child actors and they should not have been sexualized in that way. Or 2, they could have been 18 plus and it could have been sexualized, but then it wouldn't have been as effective. One of the 2 should have changed. I agree.
How wouldn't that have been more effective? I'm confused, bro.
Okay. So then, do you think there's like levels to sexualization of kids that is acceptable and then unacceptable?
Right.
No, this is never acceptable to sexualize children, but
Then
No.
Then yeah, stop. Don't say but. Don't say nothing else, bro.
So then can we then say, since this film sexualized children, I can't really champion the film. However, the message is okay. Like, I like the message.
I agree completely. But the reason I
my
defend
God.
that movie is because I think everybody just saw those scenes and looked past the message and looked past the good moral that
Okay, so you're only defending it because other people like, bro, yes, I feel like he can't go back. He can't backtrack on this no more. He can't be like, oh yeah, I was wrong. He can't. He's dug himself too deep. He said everything with his chest. He's literally said everything with his chest, bro. He can't say it. His ego will not let him say, bro, you were right, bro. They could have done all this. They could have done all that. Yeah, all right. He has to like put in his like final, oh, but this is why I defend. This is why I defend. It's like, bro, what the fuck? Like, bro, shut up.
the director had when making it.
That could very well be the case for some people, right? 100%.
I would say
But-
most people who hate the movie haven't seen it. Most of the people accusing me of being a pedophile for defending the movie haven't seen it, have no idea what it's about. They've just seen those scenes.
Like, can you
I think
recognize
they
that?
should be more upset at the problem. I think people should direct that anger instead of calling me a pedophile on the internet. They should look at the system that turns these girls into sexual objects.
But you understand they would be doing that if they used adult actors? or didn't sexualize the children in the film like they did, you could make the film without sexualizing those child actresses. Or you could have got adult actresses. Now you could sexualize the movie the way that you want. You want to push that point that girls are getting sexualized. Now you could do that at full fucking force.
At a young age and be more angry at that. That is the reason.
They like I said, bro, they're not going to direct that anger because they're going to direct the anger towards you for defending it and towards the movie for using, it's just broken record shit at this point.
Real issue. That is the bigger problem at large.
They do, though. It's not mutually exclusive like where it's one or the other.
Do they? Do you?
Do I what? Talk about the problem?
Do you direct that anger? I see you.
Now, from here, we started branching off into other conversational topics, but I do want to go ahead and give a little wrap-up here. After talking to him about it, it really feels like he sticks to his guns just out of pure stubbornness because he's defended it for so long.
Bro, I love you, Charlie. I love you, Charlie. Bro, it's literally what I said, bro. He can't backtrack.
Unwilling to forfeit on the point, even though he can clearly recognize that the sexualization of children is a bad thing.
Charlie's been doing this for so long, he explains it way better, okay? He just explained it way fucking better in 12 seconds than I did back in 2 minutes ago, bro. It took me like 5 minutes to explain that shit.
And since the movie sexualizes children, it is full stop a bad thing. He can't separate the message and applaud the message without applauding the whole film, which is a problem. He repeatedly calls it his favorite movie and how important it is, but he's only referring to the intentions with the message, and the message is fine, but the film itself is not fine. It wanted to speak out against social media, poisoning these children and having them do sexual things, and it's horrible. The film wanted to call that out and point a light at how horrible it is, but doing so, they used real 11 to 13-year-olds and actually sexualized them. Thus, it's a fucking horrible thing that they produced, and by my definition and many people's definition, is child porn. That shouldn't be defended by any means. Now, I wish Sneako would be able to just separate the message from the film, because the message is fine. That is something that you can applaud, but not the film itself.
Follow the narrative that's popular on social media, but I don't see you ever direct it at the problem. Do you agree that wokeness is one of the biggest problems that corrupts kids nowadays?
Define wokeness.
Wokeness is the liberal ideology, is feelings over facts. I identify this way because I feel like it is. There's no gender, nothing matters. I do as I want. Everything that's promoted on social media.
Do you realize half of what you just described is how you've lived your life for the last year? Like
that's
feelings
what I was
over
saying.
facts, for example.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
You champion bullying. You think bullying needs to come back. I have never canceled you. Can you recognize that? I've actually always spoke out against deplatforming, if you've ever noticed. I spoke out against it.
No, but you were also disingenuous. When I called out the soy boy collage, you were like, these people just hurt my feelings. Most of those people actively advocated for my cancellation.
Nick is not green is the only person.
True. That's not true. Ethan Klein celebrated and clapped when I was banned and said, good, finally this misogynist is banned. What happens on the internet, I understand. It's good to have back and forth. Bullying is good because it makes you have to develop your character in a different way. That's not why I was upset. I was upset because a lot of these people were secretly happy or secretly hoping that I was going to get banned because they disagree with my ideology.
But then why am I on that list when I've only ever spoke out against deplatforming? That seems like I'm there because I hurt your feelings.
You didn't hurt my feelings. I thought it was funny because you do look like the rest of them.
I don't understand how, but we're not here to...
No!
You were wrong about Fresh and Fit. You were wrong about Andrew Tate. And you were wrong about the movie Cuties.
Okay.
What?
Well, I'm glad you tied it back to Cuties, but before we get back to that, how am I feel like I'm one of the very few people on the internet who corrects himself. Whenever I make a mistake, I do go and make a clarification. For example, I got something wrong with a content creator holding a stand-up competition that was absolute dog shit, and then someone came there and made fun of him, and I didn't know the full context. Once I got the full context, I went back and made a follow-up video to explain it in more depth with more clarity. I always do that. With Fresh and Fit, you're really hung up on this idea that he fucked 3 women that night after meeting an NBA player at a bar, and they exchanged Instagram information, and it turns out they were Eskimo bros with the same girl's pussy. Like, it's an outrageous story. Now, whether or not it's true, you haven't proved it either. Were you there watching him fuck? Were you cheering him on?
He verified it. He showed the DMs with the basketball player. They did the whole podcast verifying
that
it.
doesn't.
You didn't correct it. Okay, so you didn't correct that. They did verify the story. You didn't correct it.
Did they have the basketball player? Did they have the basketball player and the 3 girls he fucked come on and be like, "Oh my god, he absolutely plowed the shit out of me. It was the best sex of my life."
Right.
Did he have?
That would be. That would never happen, but he did show the DMs with the basketball.
My God, bro, you can't talk to people. You can't talk to people like this. You can't talk to people that are like this, bro. All because you got DMs from a basketball player doesn't mean shit, bro.
Player verifying the story and that he did go to the party. Whether or not you want to believe he was with 3 women, I wasn't there either. I guess we're never gonna know.
Right, so he didn't verify it. The only thing you verified was that he was at the party.
Is not exactly how it played out under no universe, especially not for him. He is an extremely sensitive guy. He would probably have started crying after the first round of sex instead of going right to the next girl. Like, it is just not something that happened, and even if there is some elements of truth to the story, the whole thing is probably still not 100% accurate, and even still, the whole core of the video is the same. I was making fun of the guy. That would still stay entirely intact. Now, I'm getting carried away with Fresh and Fit here. The conversational topic here was about not correcting things that I've got wrong.
Right.
And I've actually prided myself on being willing to accept when I'm wrong. I think that's one of the most important qualities a person can have, and something that is very unfortunately absent from most people in the current day and age, where everyone has this complete reluctance and this like, ooh, yuckiness, I can't be wrong, I have to be perfect all the time attitude. I am more than willing to embrace and accept when I get things wrong, which is why I've made so many videos saying, I was wrong about this, got this wrong, this one was off, and adding more clarity to situations that I've covered when more information came out, or if something turned out to be fraudulent. I have done that for years, and I always have. In the case of Fresh and Fit, there is nothing to fucking correct. Now, I'm trying to really out of our conversation because we kept bouncing back and forth between certain things, fucking pinballing around, but I'm trying to connect all the points together. So we're going to talk about the Andrew Tate thing in a moment. That's something we talked about for a little bit because Tate is very clearly someone that is a heavy influence in Sneako's life. But before then, I do want to focus on a couple other things we talked about, and that's him victimizing himself constantly. This is something I've called out, and I wanted to hear his perspective on it. A lot of the things you critique the woke for are ones that you actively partake in. Victimization, that's a big thing with the woke, right? Constantly playing the victim. Do you recognize how often you play the victim in terms of like, I'm being canceled, everyone's against me, you go on your Discord to talk more about it, even this morning talking and naming and shaming people that you think have slighted you as like a cancellation. You do the exact same things. Like, you are also an SJW.
That's not victimizing. That's actively pointing out that literally every streamer, the entire internet, all of YouTube reacted to your video. I drop a response where I even apologize for going out of character and getting emotional. And then people... It's a million views in 12 hours. Nobody watching my...
Bro, nobody's on Rumble, you fucking idiot.
Of them react and making me die in an animation, but nobody wants to see what I have to say. I've become a caricature on YouTube rather than somebody who has something to say. I've become a meme because I am banned. That's not victimizing. That's actively pointing out how strong censorship is and how people on mainstream platforms can run with the narrative when you're not there.
The way you just justified it is a way many other people that you call playing the victim would also be able to justify things. The point is, when you are constantly whining and talking about how you're being attacked, it is still being victimized. I tried to point a mirror at him to point out that a lot of the things he criticizes others for is things that he actively does himself, and the one I focused on was victimization, because the way he justifies, playing the victim is justification people have used in the past that he calls out. So I was just trying to illustrate that it's not only hypocritical, but also just kind of silly that he, with all of his beliefs,
just say
still
stupid.
Plays the victim and whines so much on Twitter. But that
I said that last
really
video
landing.
too.
We just kept kind of going in a
he
circle
just
about
always
that
plays
one, so
victim.
I don't want to focus on it too much here.
it's disingenuous. And now we're having the debate, but you would rather DM and go and make this about drama. Oh, let me go and react and do more drama content rather than have a conversation.
But I never
and I'm
did
glad
that.
You're doing it now.
But
Who?
you have to remember that I didn't start any of this. You reacted to me telling jokes about your friend and then had your audience tell me, and that went on for like 2 weeks. And so eventually I explained why I don't like you. And then when I did that, that was the only time I planned on talking about you. You went on stream with your gun to threaten me, and you kept it up for 3 months, adding me.
I didn't do that to threaten you. That was a joke about clips. You actually think I was threatening you?
Whether or
You're
not you
talk
were
about victimized. You're gonna think. Okay, you're gonna say victimized.
Bro.
I'm actively trying to threaten you by saying a clips joke on a stream.
I don't think you were actually coming after my life. It doesn't change the fact that for 3 months you continued to carry it on. I wasn't reacting to you.
Right. And also, you bring a gun. You flash a gun. Oh, yes. I feel like you threatening my life. And it's just like who said it, bro? Who said it? Because somebody said that, like, bro, at some point, bro, you're taking it to, it's gonna be too far. You really think I was threatening your life, bro? It's just a joke. At some point, bro, this shit is not a joke. The shit that you're doing isn't a joke, bro. Not everything that you're doing is a joke, bro. So yes, you flash a gun and you say my name in the same sentence, I'm thinking you're threatening me. Don't back down, Charlie. Don't back down to that shit. Yes, he's threatening you. He's threatening you with that shit, bro.
I wasn't even talking about you. This was a quick point that I think he did see my side on. He likes to make the claim that I was farming him for views and AdSense money, which couldn't be further from the truth. I never wanted to talk about Sneako. I never had plans of doing it. He kept poking and prodding me until I did. And then, once I did, he wasn't happy that I was so mean in my response that for 3 months he did carry on this very one-sided beef until, once again, I decided to spit and play in the pig pen, and I made a tweet firing back at him after months of not even mentioning him, and then made a follow-up video. But it was never part of my agenda to do that. And I think after explaining it to him, he did see that he was really the instigator. And I am glad that he did have that, realization after our conversation, that he was willing to accept that. I think that is healthy, that he was open to seeing that, okay, maybe I was wrong and his intention wasn't drama AdSense farming.
What do you think that I've said that I don't believe in?
So we'll use our beef, for example. You think I'm weak for not taking you up on a boxing fight. But on the same side of that coin, you won't take Brandon Buckingham up on that boxing fight. The whole point was I don't stand by my beliefs because I won't fight you for it. Well, with that perspective, why wouldn't you fight Brandon Buckingham when you feel so strongly about your beliefs and he says the same things I do? Wouldn't you want to prove
because
that you stand?
The first fight that I want to take would be against somebody, one, who has more clout than me, two, I disagree with ideologically. I don't disagree with him ideologically at all.
But he says the same things I say about you.
This person has been obsessed for a long time. He's suing me for emotional distress. Personally, I don't care about this person, and there's no benefit for me to take my first fight with this person.
So then
if
your
I
beliefs.
fought somebody, I challenge.
So then
the reason I was banned on Twitter for challenging Hasanabi to a fight. One, because a lot of people want to see that. He's well known. He disagrees with me completely. There's a lot of tension for that fight. If I fought you, you would have said a lot of things that are very negative about me. There's beef in the air, and you talk a lot about me, so things that you probably wouldn't say to my face. It would be an entertaining fight.
But that's not the point. The whole point is you think I am weak, and you keep harping on this for not taking you up on the fight. But you won't take someone up on a fight that's saying the exact same things I am. So it seems like the beliefs, you don't stand by that strongly if you're not confident you can make a spectacle.
Charlie, we both know you wouldn't accept the fight.
Right, I've made that very clear.
We both know. Even when I challenge you, we both know. It's to point out that a lot of people talk a lot of talk online, and they never have to face the consequences because they stay in their room gaming all day. That was to point it out. Men are tired of seeing this back and forth.
Oh my God, bro.
They want to see people go and settle it. I've never said a word about this person that you're bringing up. I haven't said a word about him since last summer. I won't say his name publicly again. I'm being sued for emotional distress. I'm leaving that alone. I have no problem with this person. We have gone back and forth. We're going back and forth on Twitter, People want to see it.
There's a reason why you don't talk to this guy, though. There's a reason why you duck him. Is because you don't want to fight him. There's a reason why you don't speak on his name. Is because you don't want to have that conversation of, bro, just fight him, bro. Sign the contract. Bro, you're a fucking bum. You're an idiot. I see right through your fucking plays, bro. Your little tricks, bro. Your tricks ain't working on me, bro.
I feel so comfortable talking a lot of talk on Twitter that they would never say in person.
You made claims of Brandon Buckingham being like a rapist and shit. Wouldn't that be something that you'd want to fight about at that point? Like
that was not a claim that I made. That was not a claim that I made.
I can't remember the specifics of it, but you did toss out the word rapist when talking about Brandon Buckingham. I don't remember the context it was used in, but you did mention it, right? So why is all of a sudden that now beneath you? Like, you don't have any problems with him now after he's willing to fight. The point is
Brandon Buckingham and rapist was said in the same sentence. Him and rapist was in the same sentence.
You're talking about, you say these things and you don't have consequences. Well, what about you? You said these things. He's trying to give you those consequences that you think are so important, and you won't take him up on.
All you have to say is just flip what you just said back on yourself, Sneako. That's all you gotta say.
There is a clear hypocrisy.
Right, that was a different example. The guy was a previous fan. It's a giant misunderstanding. There's a lawsuit involved, so I can't talk about this too much, but that is not what I accused him of. I do not think he is that word. I never said that about him, and that's a lie. He wants to do it because there's an obsession going on, but that's irrelevant.
Well, it's all tying back into the point I'm making, where the things that you preach against, you yourself embody. I'm not trying to use this as a gotcha moment, but I do think it's important to illustrate here that Sneako is still denying this claim, even though there's tons and tons of video evidence where he does say that Brandon Buckingham was threatening to rape someone. He says it multiple times, and that's what the lawsuit was about. But it doesn't prevent Sneako from fighting Brandon Buckingham if he was, open to it for defending the beliefs and stuff, which is the point I was trying to make.
I'm gonna R-word your girlfriend. Literally said that. And he said, I'm gonna R-word your girlfriend, bro.
This dude said he is going to R-word my girlfriend.
Bro, nothing warrants saying I'm gonna R-word your girlfriend. Saying you're gonna R-word my girlfriend?
You said that?
Bro,
Yes.
holy shit.
Word for word.
I forgot how many times.
R-word your girlfriend.
Okay, talking shit by threatening R-word.
Claiming that someone said they're going to rape someone is insinuating they are a rapist for
Right.
making the threat. So this is just a point that I think he was way off the mark on, because he did make these accusations against Brandon Buckingham.
Your energy, $50 on a course from vetted millionaires, or watching a gaming streamer for 6 hours every night.
Well, he didn't use the course to get rich. He's getting rich from the course, the same way that the course that you're selling is not like your main way that you made money. You are making money from that course now, as opposed to what the course is teaching. But again, this is getting completely sidetracked.
That's just not true. That's not my main source of income. I enjoy doing it, and it's a great way to have a network. And you talk about all the lonely men that are out there. What are you doing to go and help these people? We understand that there's a problem with loneliness of men. People get in there, they ask me questions about how do I network better.
Why the fuck is that such a problem, bro? Why do you need somebody, bro? What the fuck? Men can't be alone. Men can't be alone. Wow. I get, bro. Sneako must really never want to meet me, bro. Because I truly don't believe that loneliness is a problem, bro. Not even loneliness. People choose to, like, bro, do things alone. Bro, like me. I'm an introvert, bro. I enjoy doing shit by myself. If I could do shit by myself, I'm gonna do it by myself. Simple as that. I'm gonna do it by myself, bro. There's a lot of people like me that just don't want extra bodies in their life, bro. Extra people in their life, bro. No, I don't want no girlfriend. No, I don't want no family. I'm cooling by myself for the rest of my life, bro. And I promise you that.
Better. How do I find people who are like-minded? You give them advice, and you can see them transform their life. I'm curious as to what you think is a better alternative, because you stream gaming for 6 hours. Is that a better solution to men who are lonely watching you play video games, or giving advice to men who don't know how to find a community of like-minded people who don't know how to make money online and want to live a lifestyle where, look, I'm in Japan. You're still in the same room that I've seen you in since high school.
I can go places. I choose not to.
Exactly. What? What's the? Yeah, he could go, bro. His point, his arguments just be so stupid. Oh my god, bro. This video is gonna be so long that, like, bro, all you're gonna hear is me just gassing this guy.
I'm happy here the same way you're happy traveling in Japan.
Exactly. I'm happy where I'm staying. You're happy in Japan. Let's keep it that way. Let's keep it that way, bro. Let's not do all this shit where you're still in the same room that you were in when I was watching you in high school. Okay? I bet you that bank account is way different though. What are you talking about? You fucking loser, bro. Get the fuck out of here. You have fun in Japan while I have fun staying in the sanction of my home, bro. My crib, my sanction, bro. You're not gonna tell me that, like, bro, that I'm a loser because I like to stay inside the house, or I don't like going out, or I don't like talking to people, or I don't like meeting new people. You're not gonna call me a loser for that, bro.
Like, these are non-arguments that you're making. It's the same argument
I've never seen you outside of your room. And I don't know how many years I've seen you on YouTube. I've never seen you out of your room. I've seen you with dildos in your room, throwing it at each other and your friends. I've never seen you travel. I've never seen you network with other people. I've never seen you show your audience what's possible if they make money as well. I've seen you play video games since like 2016.
In one of the clips you showed of me, I am outside at Gasparilla with my girlfriend. What are you talking about? We got into a little bit more of a heated argument about this point. I do still take great issue with gurus charging for courses, much like Sneako does with the creativity kit, and it's something he actually pitched a lot during our conversation. So it seems something that he strongly believes in. I don't know if that's because of the monetary gain he experiences from it, or if he truly believes it is something that's changing lives, but he did pitch it multiple times because I pointed out that I don't like that kind of shit. It feels exploitative to people that are desperate and looking for anything, whether it's a sense of community or a sense of, here's how to get successful like me. When really the success is built upon the people that pay for it, not what you're preaching. At least the majority of the time that's the case. And then he made the false claim about, you know, you don't showcase what's possible because you stay in your room a lot. Which I do stay in my room a lot, but there is so much content on my channel where I'm outside of my room. It's baffling that he'd even try and make that claim with a straight face. And even in the number one thing he showed for me, which is the picture of me and my girlfriend, we are literally outside at a party. So I don't understand why he keeps making that claim that I don't leave my room.
But even if you didn't leave your room, bro, it's not a problem. Like with me, I just say that I don't leave my room, but I was just out 2 days ago. And I've been sick the last couple weeks, but I be going out, bro, all the time. But at the end of the day, bro, you're going to find me most of my time in my room, bro.
In the house. But it is something that I fought him on, and he did clearly see he was incorrect on, so another thing he was willing to concede. But still maintaining that courses like $50 a month isn't a lot of money, especially for the value he believes people get out of it. And maybe I can only speak for everything I've ever seen, but I've never
about courses
read
make me
or
yawn.
met someone who is successful because they bought a online guru's course.
Right.
I only ever see or hear about the people who've lost so much more money than they ever had to spend because they're chasing this fucking hopium that's being peddled their way with these courses and guides. Now again, Sneako's might not be that. I haven't read it. I'm not 100% sure. But the vast majority of these guru courses are completely worthless scams. You're talking about things that are agreeable. And this is what I've said about Andrew Tate. He doesn't always say silly, dumb shit, but he does. And he couples it with good, real things. Like you mentioned, porn addiction is a problem. Like, no one's going to disagree with that. But everything that you're sprinkling in outside of it is totally fucking irrelevant to the rest of it, man. You going and flexing on your audience isn't showing them what's possible. It's showing what's possible when they're paying for your lifestyle. The advice you give, you thrive off them staying miserable, right? The second they get happy, the second they get money,
No,
the second
I definitely don't.
they will not be paying for your course anymore.
If my audience does not get value from my content, they're going to leave. The reality is that streamers and content creators like you, the audience always grows up. They watch a little of the gaming content, then they grow up. They're not learning anything, and so they go to another content creator. They go to somebody else who's popular or trendy. You need to add value to the audience, or else they are going to grow out of it.
And the value of most things is entertainment. What you used to do was humor. interlaced with your stuff. Now it's just preaching to the choir of people that already subscribe to your hive mind. It's you're still doing the same thing.
See on Twitter. That's what you see on Twitter because that's the only mainstream platform that I'm still allowed to be on. If you watch my stream,
I have
haven't
watched
streamed
your
in a couple
streams.
weeks. When I watch my stream for 4 hours, it's not preaching. A lot of it's humor. My motto is seek truth through funny.
Which
I
you've
look at
abandoned.
what's going on in the world.
You it seems you have completely abandoned that. I have watched your streams. I have. A lot of it devolves into just talking again about the same things you always mention. Soy boys, bots, woke mind virus, and then dancing around. And then always trying to defend and find the other side of something controversial. It's the same formula over and over again because that's how you found to keep your audience hooked. It's no different than
That's
people
not true.
that
I go on Omegle and I'm joking around for an hour, 2 hours. I bring on my viewers and we joke to each other. I bring on people, real life people. They sit next to me and we joke around. I have different podcasts. I have different guests.
The jokes
I just did a
that
podcast with Ryan Dawson, uncovering Epstein and uncovering the truth about 9/11, which I really recommend that you go see, to an alternative platform that's labeled as an alt-right conspiracy website and still maintain the same audience. You can't do that by repeating the same things every day. You have to add some value.
But you can. That's the number one grift right now. As long as you are contributing to an echo chamber, the people will not leave you. You form a reliance where they're constantly suckling your tit for validation that their point of view is the right one. And the more that you claim the victim, the more that solidifies and cements them that belief is the correct one because people are attacking
That's
them.
absolutely not true at all. I've been talking about the woke mind virus for a long time, and now my audience
Bro.
wants to get into
I can't listen to this guy. I need to go make something to eat. My stomach is rumbling. Made myself some pizza pockets.
know the truth. So I've been interviewing different people. I did a whole podcast uncovering Epstein and who's actually on the client list because that's one big conspiracy theory that people want to know more about. I did an entire podcast uncovering 9/11 and the Iraq War and what happened and why war is created by deception. I'm getting into more things because if you get repetitive, they're going to leave.
Admittedly, I do feel bad doing one thing that I hate when other people do, which is, like he mentions, box him into categories. Because it is very possible, outside of all the content I've watched from him, that he does other things. Now, I have seen a lot of him. I've watched quite a few streams now, out of curiosity, since his big meltdown with the whole dancing with the gun thing about our beef. So I went on there and I did watch some of his streams from that point forward, but they always went the same way. But I do think it was unfair of me to try and box it in and say he's always doing the same thing when it is entirely possible that it's just my exposure to it and what I've seen so far. So I do completely concede that it is possible he does more and talk about more than just what I see on Twitter and the streams that I've seen. But it is worth mentioning later into this discussion, he boxes me in and says all I do is sit in my room playing video games on stream for 7 hours a day. So he is still guilty of the same thing he's accusing others of, which is a point I like to make, but he doesn't fully realize when I say it to him, but hopefully, after our conversation, he does take a step back and recognize, like, okay, I am guilty of a lot of the things I'm accusing others of. But anyway, that was a point that was kind of branching off from the core topic at this moment of the discussion, which was courses. I have no respect for people that are selling courses on, like, here's how you make money. The number one way to make money, guaranteed success. You're gonna, make it with this one. Give me this amount of money every month for my book. I always find that to be exploitative, shitty, scummy, and completely useless. Those kind of creators, those kind of people, they rely on desperation. So let's think about this logically. Why would someone who's selling courses on happiness and how not to be lonely, how to get laid, or how to make money, why would they actually want you to succeed? Because then they lose you as a customer. It is far more in their interest to keep you miserable to keep buying the product. And it is something a lot of them are guilty of doing. Now, I haven't seen Sneako's Creativity Kit, so I can't say for sure if he is also guilty of it as well. Maybe he does try and offer legitimate advice and actually help people. It is possible. But that's not the case for the vast majority of them, which is why I always call it out as this is scummy, or at the very least, unnecessary. We live in a time where you have access to all the information you could ever want.
Online.
You just need to search it up. You don't need to be paying people that you view as successful to learn their secrets, when those secrets they're revealing aren't what they used to get wealthy in the first place. It's selling you hope. When you are buying their product, you are filling their pockets.
Yep.
That is the product, the book. Not what's in it, it's the book. They're making their money off your purchase of the book. They're not making their money off of the advice they've given you.
Right.
At least not the majority of the time. And that's what I was trying to talk about here.
What are your beliefs? What are they? I don't know them. Can you tell me what you believe in?
Yeah, I feel like I've made my beliefs very clear. I am very firmly on the side of there are certain things, and it's going to be different for everyone, that make people happy. And main thing I want is for people to be happy. I don't like that men are alone, which is why a lot of the advice I give is telling them to get out of their comfort zone and start with something like the gym. The gym is a very social environment. It's an environment where everyone's working towards similar goals. You immediately surround yourself with like-minded people, and maybe you make a connection at the gym. Maybe you can find a friend there, but even if you don't, you are out.
But is it really just like I said, bro, is it really a bad thing to be alone? Because I look at myself and I don't think of myself as being like depressed or like how they're trying to paint they're depressed or they ain't got no, like, bro, I enjoy being alone. And I guess, yeah, you're just gonna call me an introvert. Yeah. I don't think it's a problem in my head that I don't care about not having interactions with people or not connecting with people. I don't think that's a problem in my head. Maybe I'm crazy. Am I crazy?
Out of your comfort zone in an environment where people are working for a similar goal. And that already changes your mindset as a person. You've given yourself a goal, you are acting on it, and now you're surrounded by people that are also in a similar boat.
I agree. The gym is
I think most importantly is I want people to be happy, and a lot of times they can't find that. So I don't think there's anything wrong with escapism, like watching someone play a game or even playing games yourself. Watching a sport, playing a sport yourself is also great. I play pickup basketball every Thursday. Getting out, talking, outside of a comfort zone, instead of sitting online making...
I'm not trying to be... Why do you look like that, bro?
20,000 tweets on the Sneako Twitter, I think is not productive. Replying to Sneako's Twitter, replying to my Twitter, none of it I think is productive. I've had Twitter since 2012. I've made 2,600 tweets, and half of those are just shit posts or a retweet. I think all of that, locking yourself inside as a recluse, living in this completely toxic landscape like Twitter, is the most detrimental thing for a person, and that extends to TikTok as well. I think TikTok has absolutely ruined people's brains in terms of what they can even stomach as an attention span. Having to have like Subway Surfer underneath a video of someone talking because you can't focus long enough, I think it's all a problem. So the things I talk about are usually geared towards either entertaining people for 8 minutes a day or whatever, or during a stream if they're already home from work and just need to unwind. I think all of that is fine. But I do always try and give some level of advice. My background, I don't know if you know, I'm a human science graduate with a concentration in exercise physiology. I believe very firmly in the mind-body connection in terms of strength building and muscle building. It's going to change your whole brain chemistry, and it will help improve the way you're looking at the world. So that's one of the big things I talk about, is even if you're 100% comfortable with your body, there is no reason not to at least try to make these kind of differences and change your perspective on things. Like, it doesn't even have to be a body issue. It helps your mind overall. I am always against people paying for advice from so-called gurus and professionals because you don't need it. The beauty of the internet is it is an unlimited repository of all of the human knowledge, just this compendium of every piece of information for every subject you could want. And you can access it for free. Under no circumstances do I ever advocate for someone paying up to $50 a month for advice they can freely find right now, even if it doesn't come with a built-in...
Gamers always have the argument, but then they never talk about how college is a waste of time and that people go into $50,000 to $100,000 in debt from people who aren't vetted millionaires. If you could pay $50 and talk to a vetted millionaire who has made money online in a way that they don't teach in school, $50 is a steal. People get really upset about this because you're paying somebody directly and you know who you're spending the money on. You don't get upset about college because you don't know the principal, you don't know the headmaster, you don't know the donors. They're nameless.
You're bringing up a point that he's agreeing with. Charlie just said we live in a time where we don't need to pay for shit like that. Yeah, you don't need to go pay for college. You could find all the information that they teach in college online, but you're not going to have that piece of paper, okay? So a lot of people pay for that piece of fucking paper. But I've always said it. I've said this since I was 16 years old. You do not need college. College needs you, bro.
People behind a university. So the point of the network is collection of information concentrated in one place, and also the network of people that you can find. Right here, I'm in Japan traveling with somebody that I met from the Creativity Kit. That is something that is valuable and that you will only find by paying $50, which is not a huge price.
That is a big price, but also, do you see what just happened there? You went in...
$50 is a huge price. That's the same price as your merch that you're using to advertise on this drama. Would you rather your audience pay $50 for a T-shirt from a gamer, or they meet somebody that they can go start a business with?
That the merch isn't $50 for a T-shirt, but regardless, what I want you to recognize.
Bro, you think you just get to start a business if you pay $50? This guy is stupid. You know how much money you need to start up a business, bitch? Don't sit here and tell me that if I pay $50, bro, I can start up a business, bro. Are you gonna give me my fucking $15,000 that I need to start up a business? No, you're not. And this is the point that fucking Charlie's trying to make.
Recognizes what happened there. I
What
was
do you think
talking.
it is?
Okay, it's still not. But with what just happened there is I was talking about something, and you went into PR speak and salesman mode to talk about your course, and you attributed something to me that I actually talk against. I actually have spoken many times about why college just isn't right for everybody. It's
Right.
not. It simply isn't. I think college provides an invaluable social experience where for the first time in your life you're on your own. So you learn how to fend for yourself, you learn how to interact with roommates, strangers, so you get social skills. But college is not going to be a great fit for everyone, especially when it
Right.
comes to certain academia positions, especially like in some art fields.
I've been personally watching your videos for years, and I had no idea about any of this.
So-
I've seen you gaming. I've seen you react to drama content. I didn't know that that was your method to make.
The thing is, are you really telling, like, bro, I have my YouTubers that I watch, but I don't watch every single video. I don't watch every single stream. You're telling me you sat there and sucked Charlie's dick for fucking years? Every single stream, every single minute, every single hour, every single fucking upload, every single fucking, like, you're telling me you really did that? Shut up. No, you didn't.
people happy, which I think is a narrow way of answering that question about what you believe in and what your belief system is.
I was still
but that's
going.
fine. And I'm glad that you said that, and I think that you should reiterate that more in your video to add more value to your audience.
So you said you've watched for a long time. These aren't secrets. I made a video 6 years ago. I just double checked. I uploaded a video 6 years ago called "You're Getting Fucked by College Textbooks." The entire video is about how college textbooks in particular are a massive scam and a very predatory system that universities are using. I do talk about these things. You are just not seeing them and then still
Right.
putting words in my mouth. My beliefs, I think, are very clear to the people that watch. They're not a secret. They're not hidden. I make them very obvious. It was after this brief discussion here that the entire landscape of our conversation changed, and it became very clear Sneako never knew anything about me to begin with. He keeps calling me a gamer.
I doubt he was even a fan in the first place.
Gamer, using the hard G on me. Gamer. And I think that might be because
The
that's
hard
only content
G
he ever
on
watched.
me, gamer.
But I really don't think I've ever made a secret what my beliefs are. I talk about them on stream. I talk about them in videos. I've never been fearful of it. And yet Sneako either pretends he never saw them, or maybe he just legitimately never saw them. But after
Bro,
explaining
he's
to
faking
him,
it.
he really seemed to change his whole tone about me as a person. I'm not a psychiatrist here or an expert in the field, but if I had to wager a guess, I think Sneako put an image of me in his head and attributed a whole ton of characteristics to that scarecrow that he put in there that just isn't actually me in reality. And that's who he attacks so vehemently. Whereas I do know a lot about Sneako, because there is a big difference between us in terms of our belief. It's all the fuck he talks about. It's the only thing that ever leaves his mouth is always preaching about something or trying to make a big statement about their beliefs or their politics. Whereas that's not me. The main thing I focus on is just entertainment. My videos are made purely for fun. It's just because I thought it'd be entertaining. It's a silly topic.
And it's something he
fun,
probably loves
and
to
that's
do.
it. There's never really anything too much deeper. Unless it's a topic I'm covering that I'm passionate about, or I have something more I want to add on to it about my own personal beliefs, then I do. I'm never afraid to. But it's not all I talk about, whereas for Sneako and a lot of people in his circle, their main content is talking about what they believe, whereas my main thing is just making entertaining shit. So maybe that's a core misunderstanding here.
I love Moist
because he
Critical, bro.
clearly
Fuck.
didn't really know much about me. Whereas I do know a lot about him since he is so open with everything. He wears his fucking heart on his sleeve.
Yeah.
And I just disagree with a lot of it. But a big difference is I don't hate people that I disagree with on things. In fact, there is nobody in the world, not even my best friends, that I agree with on every issue, every time, and see eye to eye on everything. I don't like that anyway. I wouldn't want to have someone I agree with on everything. I think it's important to have different perspectives and different opinions. It's how you grow.